Yo, I'm Brendan. Here's how much money my dividend portfolio made me last month, and it's got $10,500 invested in it. So it's pretty substantial at this point because I started in January with $704 in the account. So it was very minimal. And over time, I've built it up. I've moved money around. Now we're up to $10,500. So has it been a worthwhile experiment to put this money into dividends, or is it not really paying out? Let me show you. Starting off with new buying and selling as far as investing more or taking things out of certain things and moving it around. I did none of that this month. No new buys, no new sells. Now let's go into how much money I actually made. I'd say overall November was kind of an uneventful month outside of a big fat payout from JEPI. Everything else was pretty much standard operating procedure. This WKLY thing that pays out like 2 cents every week is kind of funny. This weekly dividend payer. You would have to really, really want to get dividends every week to justify how low of a return this thing is. It's like 2 or 3%, no big deal. But between JEPI and EPD, that kind of brought me back into the fold of a decent return. And so if we do the math and see actually how much I returned this month, it's only 0.42%. But if we take that amount and extrapolate it out for the whole year and give us an APY as far as our overall return, that's 5.08% just in dividends. As you can see, it's almost exactly the same as last month in October, just a little tiny bit less, so we're right there around 5%. And it's not great, but it's also not terrible either. If I take the overall return that I've made this entire year and average that out, I'm up to, drum roll please, 7.74%. So that's pretty satisfying if you ask me. I think my benchmark right now is just like savings accounts and CDs and things that are creeping up on 6%. Some of them are even higher than that. So if I can beat those like high yield savings accounts or a 3-year CD or something like that by doing this, then I'm happy. Oh, hey, Editor Brendan here. I realized I forgot to go over something with you. We need to go over this awesome chart that shows my dividend returns for the entire year. Come on. Such a critical thing. Let's do this. All right, so I intentionally didn't start this chart until March because I wasn't really getting dividends until then. Even though I started investing in January and I put the money in the account, it takes a little bit of time for you to be able to be there when a company decides to shell out a dividend. Because you can't be like, oh, the day before I want a dividend, I'll just go and invest in that stock and then they'll pay me the dividend the next day. You've got to get in there long enough before that they recognize that you've been a stockholder, and then like 3 or 4 weeks later, they'll pay the dividend. So that's what I did for January and February, was just put some money in here. Then they finally started in March. So that's why we see in March, my first real month of dividend returns, 7.2%. Pretty awesome. Then April was just a crazy outlier. It was ridiculous. 16.49%. I can't expect to keep that up for forever, but it happened. Then every month since then, it's basically been right there around 7%. But you see this little skinny line here? This is a distinct negative trend line. Granted, the April is bumping that up and making it really crazy, but still, like, we're not doing as well now as we were back then. So I'm hoping that December comes in pretty big and bumps that back up, but we shall see. In terms of overall dollars, just to give you like the big picture as far as, okay, how many dollars have you actually gotten from doing this? What does this mean for your life? What can you do with this money? Well, I've contributed a total of $10,218 to this account, which means the overall just growth outside of dividends has only been around $300. But the total dividends I've gotten is an even less impressive number, $200.45. So you think about having this big pot of money committed to this purpose to say, I'm going to dividend invest. I'm going to not spend this money. I'm not going to buy something fun with it or go on a trip or pay off debt somewhere. I'm going to commit to doing this dividend investing thing. And after almost a year, getting $200 for it. It's not that sexy yet. You know, those numbers as they go up, they're going to get a lot sexier. But as of right now, it's not that exciting. As far as my expectations for next month, I am fairly hopeful that we'll get even more dividends than this, just because a lot of these are weekly or monthly dividend paying stocks. And so what we're not seeing here are the kinds that hit just once a quarter. I'm thinking we'll get some of those next month, and so it should be even more then. Will I keep doing this in 2024? I think we've got to wait and see, because depending on what savings accounts do, depending on what a CD looks like, I could see taking all this money out and just getting a flat 6% return, guaranteed, no risk whatsoever, and having that be pretty darn attractive. So we'll see what happens here in the new year, but I want to at least dividend invest for a full year. I like doing it. I think it's more entertaining than normal investing, than growth investing. And so I like making these videos, and I like having this kind of running side project to see what's exactly happening. But ultimately, we don't do this for fun, right? We're not here like recreationally investing. You can do that with paper trading if you're going to do that. I really want to be here to make as much money as possible, and as safely as possible, because in this instance, it's not about absolute maximum profit. It's more about how do we safely grow this money at a reasonable rate and have that cash on hand in case we need to do something with it. That's the game. The secret comment word for today is ho, because now it's December. It's the month of ho-ho-hos Christmas things, of all that jazz. Thank you so much for those of you who subscribed for years on end at this point. You guys literally are the bread and butter of what makes this possible for me, and it's really fun to get to share this with you and to have this be something that's actually worth my time and worth doing. It's just kind of a dream come true. So thanks for that. I'll see you guys. Merry Christmas if I don't see you between now and then. I'll put some more videos up between now and then. So I'll see you guys. All right. Bye.